So you want to know what makes Baptist distinctive? In order to do that, I've got to take you on a tour of my city, Hobart, the southernmost capital of Australia, here in Tasmania. Most Christian churches' core beliefs can be summed up in the ancient documents of the Nicene and Apostles' Creed. But there are distinctives of Baptists. And I'm bringing you on this rather unique tour of Hobart to help you understand some of those distinctives. In 2019, a group of people got together and named 4 things that they saw as the Baptist distinctives. They call it the Baptist Values Project. The first one was that all Baptist churches throughout history have been Christ-centered. Now, to unpack that further, I've brought you to one of the least attractive places in Hobart, the corner of Harrington and Goulburn Streets. Why have I done that? Because this is the site of Australia's first ever Baptist church. Behind me, right on the corner, was the site of the Baptist Manse. And then if we go up the street a little bit, up here, you'll see this Europe car rental facility was the site of the first Baptist church, the Hobart Particular Baptist Church, which was founded on June 16th, 1835, making it the oldest Baptist church in Australia. Sadly, now it's a place you can rent cars from. Now, this Baptist church, when it was founded, the founding documents said that the purpose of the church is to reflect the authority and person and glory of our exalted Christ by the establishment of a visible, organised church of baptised believers. So that was the founding document of the first Hobart Baptist Church, the first Australian Baptist Church. And what you'll notice is at the heart of it is Jesus. Now, all Christian churches believe in Jesus, but there's something particular about the way that Baptist churches think about Jesus, and that is that Jesus is the ultimate authority of the church, not a bishop or a pope, but that Jesus himself is the ultimate authority of the church. And as part of that, Baptists believe that Jesus reveals himself to all people and in all times and at all settings. What it means, though, is that the purpose of Baptist churches is to gather together to listen to Jesus and to follow his lead. For Baptists, Jesus is not just the figurehead of the church, he is the functional head of the church. And as part of that, we trust the Bible as the source of authority for Baptist churches in Australia. There's a particular challenge in all that because it means that different people will experience Jesus in different ways and see things from different perspectives. Now, the Baptist conviction that all of us can hear Jesus equally doesn't mean we don't believe in leadership in Baptist churches. We just believe that there aren't any experts in following Jesus. We believe there are some people called to leadership and teaching, but they're just part of the congregation, as is everybody else, or part of the community, which is the next word that people came up with. Now, this gentleman's club now sits on the corner of Collins and Barrack Streets, where Walker's Mill used to be, and in particular the Mill Pond used to be fed by the Hobart Rivulet, which still exists. The Hobart Rivulet doesn't look like it used to look. Now, this, where I'm standing, is the site of the Mill Pond, which was the site of the first Baptist baptism in the colonies on the 26th of January 1836. Now, baptism, of course, is where Baptists get their name. You don't get born into a Baptist church. Your parents can't make the decision for you. You have to make an adult choice to enter a Baptist church and be baptised, which is what happened here back in 1836. Community really is the centre point of Baptist churches, and the important things we do are done together. Baptism is done in the local church. Communion is something we do together, where we're reminded that Jesus' life is the centre of our life and we are not the centre. The assumption in the Baptist churches is that everybody has ministry, everybody is called, everybody has a job to do. And as we've already said, there are no experts in a Baptist church. We're all on the journey together. We just have different callings, different gifts, and our task is to use those different gifts for the benefit of the church. The other distinctive that is under the heading of community in a Baptist church is that big decisions are made together. It looks a little bit like democracy, but that is never the heart of a Baptist church. The heart of the Baptist church is, rather than looking for what the majority is looking for, we believe that together we have the mind of Christ, and our task is not democracy but discernment, to discern together what Jesus is saying, which is why we build our buildings a little differently to other churches. This is the oldest continually operating Baptist church in Hobart, the Hobart Baptist Church, or the Hobart Baptist Tabernacle. You can see how the Hobart Baptist Tabernacle is designed to reinforce the two values we've already spoken about. Jesus is the central focus, not the preacher. The cross is right at the heart, but also the pews are designed in a circular formation, and the circular formation of the pews is designed to help build a sense of community and this idea that we're all in this together. There isn't any experts, we're all in ministry together. Now, the third aspect that is focused here at Hobart Baptist Church is the fact that the church is the result of mission. You see, Hobart Baptist Church was not formed by a bunch of local people who got together and said, we want to start a church. It was the initiative of a farmer in the north of the state, William Gibson. He sent a letter to Spurgeon's College in London and said, we need some pastors. And as part of that, Robert McCulloch came down. He served in Longford for a time, and then William Gibson said, we need to get a church established in Hobart, and sent him down to plant this church in Hobart. And this church was eventually established in 1884. So mission has always been a central part of the Baptist approach, and mission was the third thing that the Baptist Values Project identified as central to the DNA of Baptist churches. Always, Baptists have been focused on people other than themselves. For Baptists, mission is right at the heart of who we are. It's our priority, and we believe every person has a God-given mission. When Jesus says, as the Father sends me, so send I you. He doesn't say except for you, you and you. The sense for Baptists is we are all sent. We're just sent in different ways. And as part of that, we are all sent to proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ, but also to ensure that God's justice and mercy are seen and experienced by the whole world. That's always been part of the Baptist mission, which has always been a core value. Behind me is St David's Cathedral, obviously quite a contrast from Hobart Baptist Church, and the branch of church, the Anglican Church, the Baptists started by defining themselves against, because of course the head of state, the king, was also the head of the church. There was no separation of church and state, and you didn't have freedom to think or act differently than the official church told you to think or act. The very first Baptist church actually started in Holland, when British people discovered that they couldn't do what they felt they needed to do in accordance with their beliefs, so they left and started the first Baptist church in 1609 in Amsterdam. Now, at the heart of the Baptist ideal is the separation of church and state and freedom of conscience, and as part of that, freedom of religion. One of the founders of the Baptist movement, Thomas Helwys, wrote a book about freedom of religion in 1612, which resulted in him ending up in jail and losing his life. So freedom of religion was not the policy of England back in those days, and it was at the very foundation of what it meant to be Baptist. So the Values Project people didn't take long to find the fourth and final value that was characteristic of Baptist churches to be freedom. Freedom of religion, freedom in terms of separation of church and state, and freedom of conscience. That has always been central to what it means to be Baptist. No one has the right to tell you what to think or what to believe. Now, for Baptists, freedom isn't freedom to do whatever you want. It's freedom to do what it is that Jesus is calling you to do. It is freedom to serve Jesus. Central to that, though, is the idea that there should not be external authorities telling you what Jesus says, but it is up to your freedom of conscience to work that out. And particularly, Baptists were at the forefront of the doctrine of the separation of church and state. Now, this, when the Baptist churches were originally formed here in Hobart, was not, in fact, the Parliament House that it is today. It was the Customs House, but it subsequently became our Parliament House. And contrary to what many people might believe, the doctrine of separation of church and state was not about keeping the church out of the state, it was keeping the state out of the church. That politicians had no right to tell churches what to do. As part of that, in the Baptist system, no authority structures can tell the churches what to do. Each church has its own governance systems, and we come together as Baptist churches to work with other Baptist churches and other churches because we know that we're more effective when we work together, but we work together in associations and in unions rather than in hierarchies. So there you are. From the very start of the Baptist movement, there have been 4 distinctive values. The first is that we are Jesus-centered, believing that Jesus can be the functional head of the church and not just the figurehead of the church. The second is that we exist in community and that our faith is always best expressed in community. The third is that we are all called to mission. We're all called to tell people about Jesus and represent Jesus on earth. And the fourth is that we are free. There are no experts. There is no one who should be telling us what Jesus is saying to us individually. We all have freedom of conscience. We should be exercising our freedom of religion, and the state should not be getting involved with the church. I'm grateful for the work of the Values Project in helping to clarify the 4 distinctives of Baptist churches.